I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, November the 19th, brought to you in part by Zactran Stress, and that includes relocation and weaning processes there, opens the gate to bovine respiratory disease. Slam it shut with Zactran. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, visit with one of your BI representatives or go to Zactran.com. China buys U.S. beef. We've been working towards this for many years, and China has just never been excited about buying a lot of beef from us. China is our biggest enemy. Some people will disagree with that, but they're absolutely our biggest enemy. They want to be what we are, and likely the Chinese think of the U.S. And I've heard many people say this as cowboys. They still kind of relate us to the old westerns and the John Waynes and all that kind of thing, and they think that we all ride horses and wear six guns, and that our cattle are near and dear to us. And so they think that not buying U.S. beef is something that it will punish us in some way. But now that we don't have President Trump, who is holding their feet to the fire and trying to get them to stop stealing our intellectual properties and make a more even balance of trade between the two countries and all that kind of thing. But now that he's gone and we have President Magoo in there and he seems to kind of roll over for him, well, it's timing is right, because they've just about exhausted all their places that they were buying beef, because they were buying a lot from New Zealand and Australia, which has been going through lifetime droughts, and they really don't have the beef to spare. Argentina has cut down the amounts of beef that they're willing to export, because they don't want to raise it for their domestic needs there. And so China's needing to find a place, and they've found through getting little morsels of it over the last few years that they really love our sweet grain-fed beef, and they're starting to come in and buy more of it. And if you look, and this story was brought to light mostly by the Daily Livestock Report, which is it's published in accordance with the CME Group. And if you guys don't watch that, I encourage you to read that. That's one of the things that I read regularly, along with the Beef Read, which is published by Consolidated Beef Producers. But the guys that put that Daily Livestock Report do a really good job, and they kind of had that featured on their Thursday report. But if you look through that report, and they do a good job putting that information together, in recent weeks and months, China has been buying enough U.S. beef to be ranked among or at the top of our best customers for U.S. beef. So they've really started coming in and buying that product, and it's a good deal. And I've said, if you guys have come to my presentations, if we can get China more hooked on our U.S. sweet grain-fed beef, you guys don't have enough cows. Nobody does. Because the opportunities are endless there. They likely can't afford it. It's mostly just the diplomats and the higher ups within the state that get to eat it. But there's so much demand out there from China for beef. They do raise a lot of pork there, but they would like to have more beef in their diet, and it's an opportunity for them to do it, and it could be a big game changer as far as our export demand for beef. But with other things that were going on, John Tester, he's a Democrat from Montana, from Big Sandy, Montana up there, and he's been a champion trying to get something done for cattle producers. He's signed on, lent his name to several different bills trying to help us get minimum negotiated cash trade, things that like more transparency in our markets. And on Thursday, he introduced some legislation that he put together to halt Brazilian beef imports because of all the BSE that's been going on in that country, and they're not completely fair in their reporting of it. And we feel like that it's just a dangerous thing that we're doing, continuing to take that in. And no doubt the fact that half of our big four packers that have monopoly on the industry in this country have a lot to do with the reason that we're bringing so much Brazilian product in. But he's introduced legislation to halt that. That's a good thing. And that has been backed by all three of our major trade associations, NCBA, U.S. Cattlemen's Association, and RCAF. And so that's one of the few times, and I mentioned that on one of the reports earlier this week, that they've kind of united in at least one idea, and that is to halt Brazilian beef imports as quick as we can to try to make our products more safe and to continue to hold the safety of our herd. But RCAF was also in the news on Thursday. They finally decided what they wanted to do with the compromise bill, the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act. It's Senate Bill 949. It's the one that both Charles Grassley's group with 5014 and Deb Fisher's Cattle Market Transparency Act bill. Their staffers have been working tirelessly to get together to try to come up with a compromise that they can take the supporters on both sides, put them all together and get something passed. And we know that U.S. Cattlemen's Association has worked hard and been heavily involved in trying to get that compromise deal put together and get something passed while the iron is still hot. Well, it's not a big surprise, but RCAF finally come out with a press release that they are rejecting that bill and they think it's inadequate. And of course, RCAF is famous for asking and demanding things that we can't get, but they don't like the bill and they are rejecting it. So, everything's going to be right with the world when NCBA finally comes out with a statement and says, we really don't want the government involved in our cattle business. And then everything will be right back full circle where we were when we first started talking about this. But, what are we going to do? It's the only thing we can get. It's something that we've had two major senators and their staffers working on tirelessly, and they are the champions that want to get something done the worst, or they wouldn't be involved in it. So it's either get this or it's get nothing. You're starving to death, you come in the house, they say, the wife says, what do you want? And you say, I want steak. She says, I've got hamburger. And you say no, and she says, fine, starve. Because we don't have either or I think I would like to have this included. No, this is the bill. This is the compromise bill that they put together. Is it a silver bullet? No. Does it have everything included in it that we want? No, but it has a lot of positives in it, and it's adjustable. And it will increase negotiated cash trade. You guys have seen how active our market has been here the last several weeks as we've been in really tight supplies of market-ready cattle, and the packers are short bought and they're needing cattle and they're participating more in negotiated cash trade, and we see that our market is gaining ground almost daily and for sure weekly. We can get more negotiated cash trade with this compromise bill. No, it's not going to be 50%. But I've told you guys, you can't take the Texas Panhandle from 7 or 8% to 50%. You can't do it. They'll just totally upset the apple cart, and you absolutely cannot get it. And I've told you guys that they are going to enforce this within the different regions per packing facility. And that's major because we have several facilities, especially in the Southern Plains, that have bought very, very few, if any, negotiated cash cattle for the last several years. So you bring them up to where they got to be. That just makes it that much tighter and fewer numbers out there. And then it spurs the other ones that have been participating to step up their game a little bit. And it just promotes more activity and more negotiated cash trade. But I've been telling you guys for the last week or so, if we fight this, then we'll get nothing. So I guess that's what we want, is nothing. And in the statement that RCAF put out, they said, well, there's several facilities that the biggest packer, JBS, has that they're not going to be included. There's several that Tyson's got that's not going to be included. That has nothing to do with this bill. The reason that those parameters are set and the facilities that are included is because they're the ones that have a large enough harvest to be included in mandatory price reporting. I've told you guys from the get-go for the last 2 years, that is the way that we're going to oversee, police, and enforce this new bill, or any kind of a minimum negotiated cash trade bill that we get done, is it has to be included in mandatory price reporting, or LMR, or we can't oversee it. They're not going to develop a whole nother auditing group to come in there and do that. We're going to use audit review and compliance. It's already going in there and looking into the participation in mandatory price reporting. So those facilities have to harvest 125,000 cattle a year, or they're not in mandatory price reporting. And that's the way that we're going to get this bill pushed through, is to tack it on to the reauthorization of LMR and get it pushed through, and it would be a really smooth deal, and we could get it done if we just won't fight it ourselves. And I say ourselves as all people in the cattle industry. But we can't get our heads together. Everybody wants to get their own deal, mostly because they want the credit if something good happens. NCBA has yet to say what they're going to do, but we found out this week that they've tripped enough triggers, 2 major triggers right here, and so now if they do what they say they're going to do, and what they've already have policy for, they are going to get behind some kind of a regulatory or legislative fix for this. Well, here it is. It's right there. It's the compromise bill. All they have to do is not fight it. If NCBA would put their support behind it, they're still the largest group, it would go through just a shoe in. But it's very frustrating whenever we're fighting ourselves to try to get something positive. You know, some kids ask for a pony for Christmas, and some kids ask for a pony ranch. Let's talk about the board on Thursday. December live cattle futures were up 92 cents at 133.15. February is up 85 cents at 137 and a quarter. Going your back months of your live cattle contracts, they were up 52 to up 72 cents. Feeder cattle, not on the spot month because we know it's aligning itself with the index, but our back months and all the rest of the traded contracts on feeder cattle were up big. I'm not sure if they're kind of bracing themselves for the cattle on feed report that's to come out here on Friday afternoon, or what's going on. The grains didn't do really anything that would bring this on, but maybe just because our feeder cattle auctions are selling cattle so high. But your November spot contract on feeder cattle was down 15 cents. It's just playing right in there, and it's just about par with what our index levels are. It's at 155.92. But you look at January, up $2.45 at 161.37. That looks awful good. And then your back months of feeder cattle contracts up $1.10 to up 2.45. Your fat cattle trade, going to be a little bit hard to give you the exact confirmed quotes because something was wrong with USDA's Market News Service website, so you couldn't get any information on anything out of there. But you know, listening around, being included in some of the text groups and talking to people that are out there trading cattle, I found out that we sold several cattle, and Wednesday will be the big day. Or Thursday will be the big day. We didn't trade hardly anything Tuesday or Wednesday. Thursday is going to be the big volume day, but likely we wouldn't have had the total volume anyway because a lot of it happened in the afternoon, and they've been kind of lax getting that information in. So we'll have to wait until Friday morning, and we'll hear about on our next visit how much we did trade it on Thursday. But we had live sales of fat steers and heifers in the northern feedlot area and the southern feedlot area from 132 to 134, mostly 133. Now that's awfully good there, guys, and we're gaining, and a lot of people or cattle sellers were passing the 133 bids. And it's just fun right in here whenever we're tight on our market ready supplies that you can turn down a bid and then you'll get a call back. and that hasn't been happening for a long time. I've talked to smaller feeders, farmer feeders that have been hearing from packers that they typically sell to, and they don't have any cattle ready yet at all. And the packers are just inquiring, hey, you don't happen to have a pen, do you? That we know we're in a good spot then. We've heard from some smaller packing plants, but still, regional or bigger, and some of them owned by majors that don't normally like to buy a negotiated cash. They always want to do some kind of a grid deal, but they are indeed giving negotiated cash bids out because they are wanting cattle desperately. They're short bought. They got obligations to fill, and they're out there bidding on cattle and trying to buy them. Our big dress price, or the highest dressed bid out there, and some sales confirmed on that, was $210. Now that's a lot higher than what we've seen for the last for the last year. We haven't seen anything like that. But if $210 indeed becomes our most predominant dress price this week, that'll be big time gains right there. Of course, don't have any box beef information or slaughter information because of the website from USDA Market News being down. But we do have a cattle on feed report coming out here on Friday, and hopefully they'll get the bugs out of their website and we'll be able to see that whenever it does come out. But your inventories for November 1st, the average of the analyst guess are at 99.7. Our placements, and we had such a big miss on the placements to the friendly side of the market last month. Well, the average of the analyst guess is 102.5. So if we would happen to come in with placements lighter than a year ago, which is probably not going to happen, that would be another big bullish shot in the arm. But and your marketings are light because we just haven't been the packers haven't been real aggressive. Of course, a lot of it's due to labor problems, but they haven't been working heavy on Saturdays and things like that. But only 96% of a year ago on our marketings. But at 2 o'clock Central, if you guys pay attention to that cattle on feed report, that'll give you a good idea of if things are going to continue to go forward. In that, I'm talking about on our feeder cattle market more than anything, or if they're going to hold up a little bit. But we're so short of market-ready fed cattle that I see us continuing to move forward on that. What else is going on? Check out Livestock Risk Services. There's some of the professionals that can help you out with the livestock protection policies out there, livestock risk protection, and I tell you what, with these lofty prices out here, and we continue to whine and complain and saying we're not getting a fair share of the market, and if you look at what the packers are getting paid for their product, yes, I agree, we're still not, but the prices that we're getting for all classes of cattle right now compared to historical times are pretty darn good, and they're pretty up there, and we've got further to fall than we have to go up. So if you guys are running cattle on wheat, if you're backgrounding some cattle, if you're planning on feeding some cattle, get you one of those LRP policies. The government will kick in part of that policy. Somebody like Livestock Risk Services can help you with that and guide you to what you need. Go to their website for more information at livestockriskservices.com. Talk about some quotes around. I've got several sale barn quotes, but I want to talk to you about the Superior video sale. It was just one of their regular video sales that happened, and they had it there at their home base there, close to Dallas-Fort Worth there. But they had a really good sale on there, including these calves right here from the Diamond Eye Ranch, and that's in Iowa, southeast of Des Moines, Iowa there. But they sold 140 head of these home-raised wean steers to deliver the 1st of December, 760 pounds at the delivery for $168. That's a big-time quote there, and those cattle are awful good, but we see slicker deals around, but that is a big-time quote there for delivery that's not that far off, and it's in Iowa, guys. But let's talk about our sale barn markets. Your real-time index on DB auction late in the day on Thursday sitting at 154.94, almost $155 based on an 800-pound steer, and that was up 28 cents from late on Wednesday there. But I'm going to be at Nevada Livestock Marketing in Fallon, Nevada on Friday and likely on Saturday too, because they've got a huge run, like 7,000 head. We won't really get going on the bunches until about noon Pacific time, so you guys that are interested in watching that market or getting on dvauction.com and bidding on those hard desert cattle, it'll be 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon your time before we get on the big bunches. We got a lot of nice cattle to sell there. Get on to dvauction.com, call into the office there at Nevada Livestock Marketing, get approved to bid, and you can put some cattle together with a lot of condition. Let's talk about your big sales. On Thursday, Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, about 2,400 head there and of just feeders there, and the market was $3 to $6 higher. And all this information coming from Cattle Market Central, because like I said, the USDA or Federal State Market News website was down. Pratt, Kansas, Winter Livestock in Pratt, about 1,600 feeders. They've been having their run split up and heavy on the Monday sales because they've been having their calf specials here of late on Mondays. But on Thursday, the market was $3 to $6 higher for the most part there too, straight south of Salina there. But going to give you several quotes, going to give you quotes from some sale barns I don't get to talk about very often, but love to talk about new sale barns. I love the transparency of the sale barns. I love the competition of the sale barns, and I'm just a big auction market guy. But not Durant, but Durant Stockyards. My friend Jeff Azaleas there, the owner and operator there, give me the heads up on a load of 705-pound Charolais Cross heifers, bring 150 and a half, Durant, Oklahoma there. How about another big-time quote out in Nebraska, Ogallala Livestock Auction, Ogallala, Nebraska. You know, we've been kind of hinging right here at $2 a pound on a 500-pound steer. How about 52 head, 479-pound steer calves in Ogallala, bring 210.50. That's as big a quote as we've seen on calves all fall, guys. How about a sale barn don't get to talk about very often? El Dorado, Kansas. El Dorado Livestock Auction there. This is a big time quote for anywhere. Happens in a market that's very seasonal there at El Dorado, Kansas, but goodness, 65 head, 756-pound steers at 171.50. Are you kidding me? Now here's a market that I've never even heard of before, but a guy that sold the cattle and works around that market, Cody Welsh, he gave me a heads up. He's a Feeder Flash gang member and told me about this sale, and I have no reason not to believe it. But I guarantee you this is a top quote out of a smaller livestock auction market. But when the runs are big, you can get big prices anywhere. But Fairbury Livestock there in Fairbury, Nebraska, they had a load of 940-pound steers there belong to Cody Welsh. Bring 157.80. Big time quote there. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day, come out of Columbus Sales Pavilion in Columbus, Nebraska. 54 head, 944-pound steers, bring 165.50. And that's your Feeder Flash for Friday.